Welcome to the Love and Victory Show with Val, where we will bring you candid conversation. In each conversation, we will talk about real life ups and downs while tackling unresolved matters. We will also unmask issues and truly speak straightforward and candid about our needs and brokenness, while allowing ourselves to exhale so that we can become victorious. This is a place where you can be open to the possibilities of living life in abundance while gaining tools to become bold and complete. So let's get to it.
Y'all be having too much fun behind the scenes. When I tell y'all, it's a party be going on. I think what we're going to do, we're going to set up a spy cam for the behind the scenes. The guests ain't going to even know because it's a party that goes on. And I wish you guys could be in the studio to see it. You think we have fun when we're live.
So we're going to do some behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, we're going to give y'all some. I'm petty like that. I'm going to put them on blast. All righty then. We ready to get this second part of the show going. I'm so excited to talk about givers and takers. But before we get going, we've already introduced the guests. So y'all know who they are. We've already said good morning. We've already given y'all the teasers. Now it's time for the acronym. And what else I got to let y'all do before we get going on this conversation?
Well, we already did the introduction, so it's time for the acronym.
Okay, let's go.
All right, let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys.
I can't hear you. It's like you far away from the mic. Come on, guys.
I'm sorry. Okay, so today's acronym is DRAIN. So D is for depletion, the reduction of exhaustion of resources, energy, or strength. R is for resentment, a feeling of bitterness or anger from being treated unfairly. A is for awareness, knowledge or perception of a situation or a fact. I is for intentions, a person's purpose or plan behind an action. And N is for neglect, the failure to care for something properly. DRAIN is our acronym.
Wow.
And today is givers and takers.
Well, yeah, you know
Givers and takers, they both can be draining, huh?
They really can be. Well, I know that I was putting Kelsey on the spot, but again, that goes back to her calmness. So she is such a great leader. One of the people were Aaron was doing something else, so Kelsey was over here doing a couple of things while Aaron was taking care of the guests. So again, thank you, team, for being so great. Let's just get this party going. When you guys heard, and I'm throwing this out, you guys are not new to this. When you heard givers and takers as the title of the show, what was your first thought? Molly, I'm going to start with you.
I assumed talking about people because I think we've kind of touched on this subject maybe a little bit in previous conversations, but people who are giving of themselves versus people who take. I don't know how else.
And why is that so hard for you to say it? Just say it.
I guess
just say it. That's because you're so sweet. Today is the day to just say it. Say it.
No, but people who are more about what others can do for them than what they can give to others or what they can give to the world or what they can give of themselves.
Okay, then. I love that. And you, what did you think when you heard the title? Taylor?
Well, I agree. This as the conversations I feel like we've had before, and it's amazing for me because this is a growth area for me, being a person where I recognize I overgive and undertake, and I allow people to overtake while, and all that stuff. So I'm excited. I'm here to learn and listen because this is definitely a growth area.
Oh, no, you're not here to learn and listen. You're here to educate.
I'm going to help you.
You might have to give. You might have to help those people that are takers know what givers feel like.
Ooh,
okay, then.
Turn the mic on and turn it up.
All right, then. Brother Carter, when you heard or you saw the title, what was your
givers and takers? Some in life, you have some people that are natural givers. They just give of their time, their money, their space, whatever they have. They are just naturally just give it. And then you have those that take your giving for granted. And so you have to be careful with people that take your kindness, so to speak, as a weakness, or take your giving as something they can take advantage of.
Okay. Okay.
That makes sense.
That make a lot of
all
sense.
right. I'm done.
I-
I'm done.
I like that. So when Kelsey and I were coming up with this title, we have touched on different things about givers and takers, but I wanted to specifically talk about today on what that weight of giving and taking looks like, feels like, and we're going to do some shifting here, because if you are a taker, okay, obviously you're not understanding how you're depleting. And I'm not saying that you don't love that person. I'm not saying that you don't care about that person, but I don't think that you recognize how your taking is impacting that individual. And if you are a giver, the other side of that is you're depleting yourself because you're trying to get attention. And it's not a negative thing. Or maybe for me, my thing is I think I was giving for the wrong reasons, even though it was coming from a good place.
Right.
I was giving so much because I wanted people to just see me. And maybe if they saw me, then they would help me more. And so that can also be a negative. So let's have that conversation and let's jump in there. So the first question I'm going to ask, how do you recognize when a relationship is in balance, when you're giving more than you're receiving? And has anybody been in a relationship? And it doesn't have to be a dating relationship. It can be a friend relationship. I'll start with you, Molly.
Oh my goodness. I'll apologize. I don't want to take up the whole hour because I feel like I could just expound on this endlessly. I think when you're in a relationship, whether it be a romantic one or just with friends, family, whomever, if you are constantly wondering what more you can do, and I'm not saying like in my current relationship, I always think about like things that I can do for my partner because it gives me so much happiness. And I know and because he's so amazing and I just live to make him happy. But if you're in a relationship where you're like, what more can I do to make this work? Or what more can I bring? Or I'm not enough. I think that's when there is an imbalance. Anytime you think that you are not enough, there's already an imbalance because the reality is that you are enough. Whoever you are, whatever your situation is, you as a person, you are enough. And if your partner is taking in such a manner that you do not feel sufficient, then that is indicative of a problem. I'm
going to push back a little bit. What happens if it's not the partner and you are, again, I love that you said you're enough. But when it's not the partner, but it can be a friend or it can just be a colleague or something else, but you're giving because of something broken on the inside of you. So how do you recognize that? And hey guys, put in the comments and help us out. How do you recognize that and how do you make that switch?
I think you made it clear when you spoke earlier about you wanted to be recognized for something, or you wanted someone to regenerate that same energy you was putting out to somebody. So my take on being a giver, if you're not doing it, just like tithing, we spoke about this earlier today. It's like tithing. If you're tithing just because you're doing it grudgingly, you know, I don't really feel this, but I'm doing it for the residual effects.
I think that's not what I was saying earlier when I was speaking of myself. I think you don't even recognize that you're doing. For me, when I was giving and giving and giving, I wasn't really doing it so that you can look good at me. It was more of a help call. You know, if I keep giving.
Okay, well, you're changing what you said.
Yeah, I know. No. I didn't make myself clear. So it was more of a help. It was more of help. Don't y'all see me? I'm hurting. I'm tired. So I'm giving out what I was hoping to get back. And I think a lot of times people, and it's not necessarily negative, it's just that that's the only voice that they have or they know at that moment. So for me, I'm past that now. But for me, how do we help someone get past that or recognize it?
I'm glad you asked that question. Now I'm gonna let y'all get in here and do this thing. But see, often if you feel yourself giving and exhausting yourself
Mm-hmm.
in your giving.
Oh,
You're not really giving purely, because
okay.
giving should be a thing of joy.
Oh,
It should be a thing of pureness. And so when it's not pure, and when you don't even, when you're giving is pure when you don't even think about it. It's just done.
But when you
And
don't recognize that you
I'm talking about
but
the
that's
people.
good,
Yeah.
because I'm talking about that was me.
And when you don't recognize it, like you said, when you don't recognize it, that means you're not really giving of oneself. That means you're doing it for opportunity or reasons outside it.
I disagree, because none of that was where I was. No, but I was talking about me. We're talking. We ain't fighting. That's okay. No, that's not where I was. Where I was is it was really a cry for help.
Right.
So it wasn't. No, so it wasn't about trying to give to for selfish gain, because it wasn't about the selfish gain. It was really an example of what I thought in my mind. Because when you're hurt, when you're broken, you really don't recognize, and I hear what you're saying. You really don't recognize the state that you're in and why you're doing it. All I knew is that if I can just give a little more, maybe they can see how I'm drowning, or maybe they can see me as a person. Because remember what you've been taught.
Right.
You give to help. You give to someone. Giving is what's the word? What am I looking for? Come on, Taylor, help me out. When we talk about giving,
and Stephanie over there looking at me. I don't know what you're saying.
That's okay. Taylor knows. Come on, ladies. When we're talking about giving, we've been taught to just keep giving.
To give. Yeah. Well, to speak from the perspective of a person who's learned how to use wisdom in giving, because I recognize that, to what both of you all are saying, my intentions for giving were always different, right? At one level, and this always depends on the type of relationship, I was giving, like you said, to be seen, to be considered, to be aware that, like, Taylor's here, she's present, she's willing to give, she's willing to be a part of it. There was another part of me in certain situations where I gave just to show you that there are kind people in this world.
Right.
And then there were other ways I just give because I just wanted to be considered one of the good people in your life. And so in each and every one of that, I've had to check myself. Like you said, Brother Carter, going back to like that, what is that reasoning behind? Am I giving? Is that truly out of the kindness of my heart? Is that scripture where we're just loving others as Christ has called us to love others as he loves us?
That's the scripture I was looking for.
Or is it out of selfishness, or like you said, our brokenness?
Selfish ambition.
So I've had to take the self-inventory. But going back to your other question, in business relationships, there's two particular business relationships I've had to sever, because I realized that although I was giving and I was showing up genuinely, to my understanding, right? And I've asked God to show me myself, but I was showing up. But when it came for that other person to show up, even in the slightest way, it was never mutual. And so now the balance for me is, I'm still going to give. I'm going to ask God to make sure I'm giving purely and with wisdom. But if it's not mutual, I'm not doing I can't count on you the way that, I know I show up for you. I just feel like you're taking. Yes. Somebody explained it to me like your emotional bank account. Somebody just withdrawn, but they never are depositing. I had to get to that realization, like, these relationships are not healthy for me. I'm exhausted.
Exactly.
I'm tired. I'm showing up honestly, and you're just taking. Yep. And unfortunately, I had to realize, like, those relationships just can't stand.
And that's it. That's like the light bulb going off, coming on, should I say. But literally, you have to get to that point. And the growth of getting to that point is also painful, because to recognize someone that you care about, because you would, even if it's a business relationship, you're giving because you care. Right. You're showing up because you care. And so recognizing that you have to basically cut it off for your own peace is also painful and scary. Molly, you have anything to add to that?
I think there's sadly also some sort of sixth sense out there that people who take an inordinate amount from others always seem to be drawn to those who give the most.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, literally.
Right? I don't know if that's the universe trying to balance things out.
I don't know.
But yes, but it's unfortunate because then you have people like yourselves who are natural givers who just have that in their spirit, who somehow just attract these people who are just endless voids of taking.
Yes, I love that. That's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
And it's funny though that you mentioned that some people are drawn to people that even give in a negative way.
Yes.
Drawn to the negative giving, they give them hell, and they drawn to this.
Because it's something,
Right.
out
It's
into
the
the
dysfunction.
So it's a dysfunction. That's exactly.
Yeah, wow. This is good. You know, this
And then when you said it, it just
It's true. You're not
Hey guys, make sure you guys are putting your comments in here and your questions, and we will bring you into this conversation. I'm going to throw another question out. What's the difference between healthy giving and being a taker of it? Healthy giving.
I'm going to give you an example of some
healthy.
My personal thing I did, as far as giving. And I was at church one Sunday morning. And a particular preacher got up, preached his sermon, blah, blah, blah. And after the sermon was over, you know how they say, I want my $500. People to stand up, raise your hand, and come on up and give you $500, and I wasn't going to be that person. But when he got to the $100 person, I stood up and said, I'm finna get recognized right now. I'm walking down this aisle with my chest out, and I'm finna get this $100.
Yeah.
That was all in me.
That was in you.
Yeah.
That had nothing, and I groaned and moaned and complained about it. The time I gave it, I said, you ain't nothing but a damn fool. Got up there and gave
Because that was not about
because it wasn't about
Right.
God. It was all about me.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're giving, if you find yourself doing things like that, just want to be recognized, want to be seen, that's the wrong way to be giving.
Wow.
Because like I said earlier, giving shouldn't even be a thought process. It should not be. It should just flow, just like that.
Wow.
And it's not even the thought of, you don't even realize you gave $100. You just gave it because that's what's in your heart to go, and you did it.
And you ain't wrestled with it after.
No wrestle. I've been wrestling. That's been 15, 20 years ago. I'm still wrestling with that $100. And God done blessed me with hundreds and hundreds of more dollars since then. But that $100,
you knew that $100 had nothing to do with
that $100 showed me something
about you.
about me. Yeah. And then, so you have to recognize when you stand up in the midst of giving.
What a great example. Brother Carter, you always bring it home.
Right?
You bring it home. Okay, Aaron is really coming for me this morning. The crew want to get you guys in. Come on, Aaron, what you got?
Absolutely. So Monique Whetstone, I've seen a couple of her comments. This is really touching on point right here.
What's up, Mo?
She says, in this world, it's give and take. If you do all the taking and not giving anything back, be it financially, spiritually, emotionally, you will have a big house in hell. And then she also followed it up with, it's called entitlement. A lot of folks feel the world owes them something. So big givers tend to give freely just because of their heart and lack to realize they're being taken advantage of.
Wow.
And then after that, Neville Washington on YouTube, he said, if you're broken from inside, you can never heal someone else.
Wow. Beautiful. Yes. That's right. Oh my God. I tell you, this Carter crew, y'all come with the smoke. All right, we're going to move this thing on down the road. And
all that good talk was from my daughter, Monique. That was the meanest little rascal growing up. She's a very entitled individual, so she's speaking from the heart when she's speaking those words.
That means you're right taking place.
She's speaking from the heart right there.
Taking place. Okay, we're back on off now. Okay.
Can I get an amen if that was you, amen, Monique?
Oh, wait, she got a couple more too.
Okay.
She followed up with, healthy giving is when it's something to better a person or uplift uplift them. It may not be what they asked for.
Mhm.
The taker of healthy giving sometimes don't accept it, and then sometimes turn on the healthy giver.
Oh,
Mhm.
oh,
My.
my.
She dropped
Yeah.
the mics
All,
today.
all I can tell you.
When y'all booking Monique to the Victory Show?
Time bring about a change. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead on to the next one. How can you tell when someone sets boundaries, it isn't enough, and walk away? How can you tell when it's time to set boundaries
Mhm.
and you've set them, but it's not enough, and you need to walk away? The boundaries aren't working.
Mhm.
And you
Yeah.
tried to set some healthy boundaries. How do you handle that? What do
Okay.
you do?
So when it comes to setting boundaries about giving of your time, your space, and your energy
With people.
with other folks,
Mm-hmm.
when you get to a place, amen,
Mm-hmm.
when you are sick and tired of being sick and tired of these individuals doing the things that they're doing, saying the things that they're saying, and sucking all the energy out of you,
Right.
you have to just take a deep breath
How do you do it, baby?
and say, no,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
for me, I can't do it right
Mm-hmm.
now. I just can't do it. And no is like some of our colleagues say, it's a complete sentence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
there's no explanation needed behind it. It's
I don't
just,
need to explain
no.
anything. You don't need to
Yeah.
say why you're not doing it. It's just
Mhm.
I'm
Okay.
done.
That should be the
Yeah.
expectation when you set a boundary.
Yeah.
Because if you set a boundary and you don't have any follow through, then you didn't really set a boundary. You just
Mhm.
expressed a wish into
Right.
the
Yeah.
air.
Wow, that is
It's a boundary
you
when you
have-
say it and mean
when you
it,
say
and
it
you
and
and
mean
you
it,
walk
that
away
is a
from
boundary, and you have to
Yeah.
be willing to follow through.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
otherwise you're just like, oh, could you
Yeah.
please?
Yeah.
Right? Again, that's a wish.
Yeah.
But if
It's
you're
like
saying,
it's
hey,
like when you're a kid, okay, daddy, can I get this? Can I get it? And you say no.
Yeah.
And they keep
That means don't ask me no more.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that go for grown children as well.
Yeah.
You know, because when you set boundaries and you and they know you as an individual,
They know.
that no is a complete sentence.
Well, that's
Yeah.
kind of like with your children. They know when daddy's eyes pop out.
Yeah, when they
you
know
don't
you.
even have to. If he
Yep.
says something and them eyes go
Yeah.
there, it's almost like instantaneously they know.
Don't make me have to explain. Now. 'Cause if I have to explain,
Yeah.
not explain, but
Yeah.
explain. If I got to explain,
Explain
now
it.
I'm getting angry now.
Break it down.
And so now this not good for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing. I like that. So I'm going to come to you, Taylor. When was and then I'm going to go to Molly.
Mhm.
When was the time that you finally had to stop, say to someone
Yeah.
that this is it?
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel? And how did the person respond to it?
Yeah. Oof.
And
Well,
I'm speaking from a giver.
from a giver.
Yes. Because
There's-
I don't think you're a taker.
There's a couple examples. It's so, God is so good, because I was at work last night thinking about all of this kind of stuff. I didn't even know the
It was going to go this
real
way.
element of the conversation today. So thank you, Holy Spirit, for preparing me for this.
Mhm.
There have been like romantic situations and definitely friendships where I got so exhausted. I was just so worn down. And what I realized was, I kind of like survey, like there were certain people when I got around, I felt energized. I felt happy,
Mhm.
excited,
Mhm.
joyful. And then when I got
Molly.
around this particular, right. And then when I got around these particular people, I was just like, oh, so that let me know, okay, just how I'm feeling in myself lets me know that this person is something I have to sever the relationship. It took me a long time, because I am that person where I give you grace and grace and grace in each of these situations. Then I got to the point of no return where like, I can't do this. 2 times the response was, well, I didn't ask you for all of that.
Mhm.
I didn't ask you to put all that into the situation.
But you took it.
But you took it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it got put back on me, or my feelings got minimized. Like, it's really, what you're feeling is really not that big of a deal. I mean, I don't think it's that deep.
Trigger. Trigger.
And so those, but the blessing and the hard part was, like you said, it's hard to set that boundary. But because I had got to the point of no return,
You got to your
I didn't even have it in me for you to like flip flop it on me and gaslight me or whatever it was.
Mhm.
I was like, it don't even matter at this point.
Yeah.
It just can't stand. And the funny thing is, every single person who I've had to do that with have all came back
Mm-hmm.
in some form of fashion, in some level of time, trying to rebuild that relationship, even apologize,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and give me that. And even then, I still was like, you know, I thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I still
But you
can't.
see the character of the person. It's not that you haven't forgiven them, but you see the character, and that's not even someone that you want to really bring into your
and
circle.
not only that, you know, like this one particular situation was more a romantic relationship. I think about just who I was, and I've
Yes.
grown from that person. So I
love
had to even
that.
explain to this person, I'm not even the same person
Right.
that I was. I don't even know if you would like me now. Let's be
I'm
real, because the
different.
person you like didn't have strong boundaries. Like you said, I would say it with my mouth, but I wouldn't stand on it.
Yeah.
Oh my
I let
God.
you do. The person now, she's experienced so much peace and a level of alignment in her life where it's almost like, if you come, I'm sorry, you're not even, I don't even know if you're going to like this thing.
The thing is,
I love that.
the Taylor Rowe you are today, like Taylor Rowe who she is today.
Loves
But
her.
back then they didn't want you. Now they're hot. They're all on you. So back then you didn't realize, you didn't understand the level of the. That's what. See, when people know when you don't really like yourself as much.
Oh my
They know.
God.
You know, they got those what they call predators.
Vipers.
There are people out there that know when you don't like yourself. There are people out there that know that you feel guilty about something, and when they come into your world, so you have to put all those things into your thought process when it comes to giving of yourself.
Come on, Molly. Golly.
That is the perfect segue to like how I was going to approach the question and the prompt. Because I feel like a lot of times with people who are, well, maybe not a lot of times, maybe I'm just projecting here, but I know for myself, a lot of my giving, especially when I was younger, came from a place of a lack of like self-love. Like I did not value myself beyond what I was giving to
That's
others.
exactly it.
Right.
And in relationships, I thought my only value was what I was giving to the other person.
Wow.
And
and one thing about it, and I'm gonna let you keep that thought.
I'm holding on to it. It's right here. It's right here.
9 times out of 10, if you feel it, 9 times out of 10, it's felt.
By the
outside of you.
Yes.
Okay. 9 times out of 10. So let's go and express how you feel. That's what we do on the Love and Victory Show, because there are hundreds and millions and billions of people feel the same way you feel.
There you go.
But they don't have a voice to be able to say it. And so you're saying it for them, and they're like, oh yeah, that's what I'm
because
doing.
it's resonating with me. So
that you feel that if you turn off this tap of giving, that all of a sudden everybody who you love is going to evaporate.
Right.
And so you tie your sense of identity, you tie your sense of self-worth to this. So then when you get in a situation where you have a person who is a real taker, like everyone takes to a certain extent.
Right.
But when you have somebody who there's such a deficit, right? It's completely on. You have to, I think, finally come to that realization of like, what am I worth?
What am I worth?
And if I turn off that tap, like,
even
what
if
does
it's
that say about me?
Is that person gonna love me?
And even if they don't, that's okay.
That's
because I love myself. And that's where I had to get to be in I'm speaking of a former romantic relationship where I had to finally, because I too had set the boundary. Oh, you crossed over. Oh, we'll set another boundary.
Right.
Oh, you probably didn't miss another boundary. There was absolutely no follow through.
I think for me,
boundary, excuses, whatever you want to call it.
Finally, I had to realize like this is not like how this person is treating me. They're not capable of giving. They're not capable of giving. Period. And
or
like, what do I want? And or receiving what I'm giving them. And like, what do I want?
I think what we end up doing is putting on other people something that we're not. That's what I did. I put on doing this giving thing, not really understanding where that giving was coming from, not understanding that giving the reason, the why of me giving was unhealthy. And so I was putting it on other people, hoping that they can change when I hadn't even figured it out myself.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's very important that we keep things in perspective of why we're giving and to whom we're giving.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so for me, it's just so refreshing that I can say yes and no and not worry about if I'm going to lose someone.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. I was
Exactly.
going to lose someone.
Yeah.
And if someone walks away from me today, first, I'm different.
Yeah.
I'm still going to care about you from a distance, but it's not going to change who I am. So
Yeah.
Can I add,
Sure.
because we kind of just are flowing in that direction. Now that I'm at a more healthy, healed state, I recognize that because giving is in my heart, it's important to be mindful who I give to.
Yes.
And something that I recognize is just like we were saying at one point, we were giving from an unhealthy point. There are takers who literally just don't have the capacity to recognize the blessing that you are as the giver. And that's been a hard reality because when it's natural to you, you're kind of like, how don't you
why don't
understand
you
that this is good? Or like you said earlier, well, why do you want the chaos over the peace? Like it doesn't connect the dots. But like, God had to show me but there are a lot of people who are not, the takers are not there in healing within themselves or in the right capacity. And that even kind of goes back to like the people who did come back around. I think they learned within themselves the level to which they were taking. But I still had to set that boundary because I can't put, as the natural giver, I have to be wise with that.
Yes.
And I can't just link myself up to anyone because when you don't have the capacity to receive, it just doesn't mesh.
And that's the thing that I think people, and I like that you said the natural giver, people don't understand. If you're a natural giver, that's not going to go away.
Yeah.
That's just that's the makeup of who you are. And so, but what you learn is to recognize the takers and recognize as a natural giver how you're supposed to give. So you're no longer giving from an unhealthy place. You're giving from a healthy place. Wow. Okay, Brother Carter, we're going to do we have any questions in there? And then I'm going to come right back. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back.
All right. We do have a couple of questions.
Okay, sure.
First, Abraham James on YouTube.
Hey, Abraham, how you doing this morning?
He was asking why in a relationship, why is there someone that needs to be a giver and another one always be the taker?
Wow. I'll turn that.
Say that again.
Why in a relationship does someone need to be a giver and another one have to be the taker?
That's a good question.
I honestly don't think that in a relationship that should be the case.
Right.
I think that's a really
that's unhealthy, right?
Right. That's an imbalance right there. Because I think like my current relationship, we give to each other. And it's a constant cycle because we're constantly
replenishing.
I'm constantly thinking of things to do for him. He's constantly thinking of doing things for me. And it's just a beautiful cycle and it doesn't feel strained. It doesn't feel forced.
Wow.
I don't feel empty. I feel overjoyed to give.
So Molly's all in love around here. But see, it's hard to find someone with the same heart that you have, and so sometimes when you have a relationship, individual heart is not where yours is. They were brought up on the rough side of the mountain, maybe, and your side of the tracks wasn't so rough. And so this is the makeup of the individual now. And so we have to just be conscious, should I say, of what side of the track the individual we linking up with.
That goes, and I'm glad that you said that because that goes back to, Molly, jump in here, y'all jump in here. That goes back to not being so quick to jump in a committed relationship. Why don't you date and get to know a person and also get to know yourself? Hopefully you know yourself when you're ready to start dating, but you got to give yourself some time and some grace to get to know that person.
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, that healing, when that healing takes place and you experience true peace, it actually makes it a lot harder for you just to accept anyone. I feel like, and that's kind of like, that's exactly where I am in life. It's like, it's not that I can't have a relationship or it's not that I can't have, these things. It's I've recognized like that I'm a natural giver, so I have to be wise in who I attach myself to. Like you said,
Mhm.
there are some people who literally will attach themselves to you because of your light,
Yes.
because of your level of giving, because
your
of
wealth level,
favor, like it's just whatever
Yeah.
it is. And so it goes back to you have to put that responsibility on you.
yourself.
But the only way you can do that is when you begin to love yourself and recognize yourself and recognize why you were made and why you were created.
Ooh.
And so then you naturally move out of that people that stepping stone, or the people just step all over you.
Yes.
You move out of that and you move into like, hey, I'm going to be fine whether I have you in my life or not, or if you decide to leave, which has happened. People have exited just as quick as they've come. But I'm grateful for that. That means that old Taylor that just hung on to people just for dear life because she didn't love herself is no longer there.
Yes.
You
And
know?
you recognize
That's
that.
when you say, thank you, Jesus.
Right. And I do. I say, well, thank you. Move them out the way.
All righty then. So you guys go ahead, put your comments in, and we're going to come right back. Oh, wait. What we get ready to play? Tell me what we get ready to
We
play.
play some old Lila James.
We're going to play some more Leah. You know, I just love her music. Okay, let's go. Y'all know. Okay, bring them
I
on.
like.
Oh, Lord. Y'all see, I told y'all it'd be a party going on behind the scenes. I hope y'all enjoyed the music. And now y'all
I know y'all didn't want that to stop.
Y'all didn't want that to stop. Y'all saw Brother
Y'all
Carl
wanted to
over
kick that one up.
here?
Huh?
I tell you. All righty, y'all. We're going to go ahead with some of these questions. Or actually, do we have any comments? What? Fix it. There
Question,
you go. Fix
comments,
it,
or
Jesus.
concerns.
Fix it, Jesus. I can't hear you. Turn your mic on.
Can we hear me?
There
Testing.
we go.
There we
There
go.
There you
Beautiful.
go. There
The
you
devil is a liar.
I know that's right, Aaron.
Y'all partying too much over here early this morning. Let's go.
That was that Aaron Hall going
Go
on.
ahead, Aaron.
Nah, definitely though. We got lots of comments. We had Benny Blanco on Facebook. He said, "Let me tell you, I will be a giver if someone really deserves to take it."
All righty then.
Come on, Benny B.
Brittany Murphy's on the same page, except she's on YouTube. She said, "If you can be a taker, then you should be a giver willingly too."
Come on now.
Donald James, he posted a question and then I think like a clarifying statement too. He asked,
Hello, homeboy. How you doing?
Donald James on YouTube, he said, "In this time and generation, is it really possible to maintain a healthy relationship?" And then he followed it up later saying, "In the past, I have had a toxic relationship, and being the only giver and putting all the effort by myself, it drained me so much. But thanks to God, I moved on from that before I had no soul left in me."
Wow.
So I'll go ahead and pull up his question right here. But I feel like
let me say, mic drop. We're gonna drop a mic on that one. He. Oh, you just gonna blow up the room. You ain't dropping the mic. You blowing the room
We don't
up.
have that sound yet.
That was
Bomb.
real good. That was a bomb. Okay. We're just going to go back with this conversation. Diamond, you have something you want to add? I see you going over she's all over
Yes.
the
Oh, I
screen.
just-
She is ready for it.
I
Come
just
on.
wanted to add on to what Donald James said.
Yes.
Energy vampires are real.
Yes, they are. And even let's elaborate a little more on that. I like to take it from right there. If you can, I see everybody shaking their head. Let me ask a question. Have you experienced a vampire, energy vampire? Let's just ask that. I'll just start with you, the executive producer.
She was looking dead at me.
Are you? Huh?
I have encountered so many in my lifetime,
Yeah.
my little short lifetime I have.
So how do you deal with it?
It's draining. That's when you have to set your boundaries because it gets to a point where you have nothing left to give because who's giving, like who's pouring into you, just giving so much. You don't have nothing else to give.
So when did you recognize, so when you knew that you had a lot of people around you that were energy vampires, or you had people around you, when did you recognize it and when and how did you stop?
How did I stop?
Or just end it with them?
How did I end it? Honestly, I just had to cut ties with that person.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, like going back to that episode about ghosting, I didn't really ghost them. I'm not going to say ghost. Like, I just had to cut them off because like it was just my energy, my peace was ruined and I just couldn't function like that. It makes the person go crazy, honestly. So I had to just cut them off all in all.
All in all, okay.
And when you encounter a vampire, you either have to break out some garlic or a wooden stake. And so you got to figure out what your garlic and wooden stake is in life to get that vampire out of your life.
That's a good one there. All righty then. I see Hello, good morning, cousin. Could somebody read Laurie Ann Renard?
Mhm.
She is in here from Facebook.
Absolutely.
Hey there,
She's
wifey.
That's a whole story, but they're serious about it. Okay, go
All
ahead.
right. She said, in any type of healthy relationships, both should be givers and takers respectfully. If at any time it should become abusive in any form, boundaries should definitely be set.
Okay. So, in other words, what I'm hearing her say that it's okay because sometimes when you're a natural giver and you're giving
Mhm.
because you're in your season of giving, there's
Right.
plentiful. You have energy, you have room to give. It's okay. But when you're in that state of taking, that means that you're that person, that your partner should be pouring back into you
Yeah.
Mhm.
because you have depleted everything
Mhm.
that you have. So that's when you say there is a good, healthy balance. Okay.
And don't get it twisted here. All relationships are not going to be 50-50.
50-50. Huh.
Mhm.
Okay, just because your relationship is 60-40, 70-30, whatever the case may be, that person giving 30 might be giving
They're 100.
their 100% of
Mhm.
that 30. And so we don't look at this thing all the time that
Balance.
I'm constantly giving, and the other person not giving anything. They're giving the best that they have in them. Sometimes it's just 30. And so it all evens out if you
Hopefully, if that person is truly there for
that's what
you.
I was
I'm not trying to take
yeah,
it from you.
that's where I was going.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
if it's something that y'all desire for it to work out
Yeah.
amongst
Yeah.
each other,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to finances.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest breakups of
Yeah.
all relationships
Relationships,
is finances.
Mhm.
Yeah.
100%.
So find a way to work it out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Taylor.
And something my parents have shown me is like you alluded to, there are seasons. Like I watch growing up, my mother raising the children. I felt like she was more of the giver,
Mhm.
and we were more of the takers.
Mhm.
And when in 2021, when she was diagnosed with cancer, she couldn't even give, and
Mhm.
we shouldn't have had to take. So it changed. I watched my parents change the dynamic. I saw my father, which is such a blessing, show up for her in a way that I have never seen him shown up before. And not that he was an overtaker in the past, he just had to give, like you said, his whole 100%
Mhm. Well,
because
he didn't
she
have to
couldn't
before.
even
Yeah.
put in so much. And praise God, she got through cancer and like the dynamics. But it just taught me, like, wow, there are seasons too.
Mhm.
Where it might look
good,
like
Taylor.
when children are being raised, it looks this way. But as
Mhm.
you get older and you're empty nest, it looks this way. And sickness or financial hardships or things come in place. So sometimes it's hard to just be like, like you said,
Mhm.
going by the metric.
Yeah,
Is it
the
100?
joint,
Is
yeah,
it
the
this?
judge it at
It's
this
about
point.
what
Yeah.
life is
Mhm.
putting on you. Like, both of my parents are sick right now.
Mhm.
And they're elderly, right?
Right.
So there's levels of their relationship looks completely different from 20 years ago.
Yes.
And so it's teaching me too, like, not always looking at those metrics that social media and society tells us to look at, but to pay attention to, like, what can you give based on what life is presenting you at
Right,
that moment.
at the moment.
It's
That's
so
good.
it's so funny that you
That was
said
so grown up what you just said.
Well, I love it because we're in a season, actually God gave us a season a few years ago, a transition season as our parents are older, and of course, my husband went through this. Actually, I went through my father passing and all of that. And then my husband went through something I couldn't even imagine. And even though I was there, I still wasn't there because especially with seeing a parent transitioning. I was there and I was giving to the capacity in which I can give, but it could not measure up to how much he was giving because that was his mother. And so now my mother's healthy. I'm not speaking ill over my mom, but it's a different level of giving because my mother, as she's aging, and my sister, that giving thing is sometimes so selfless and it's sometimes heavy.
Yeah.
And so we have to reckon it. And he picks up the slack when I'm down. And I hope that I was able to give him pick up some of the slack.
You gave 100%, honey.
Yeah.
Thank
You gave 100%.
Because
Don't ever feel bad about it. Don't ever feel doubted about it. You gave 100%. Thank God for you and your efforts, what you did.
Thank you. And I'm bringing that up not for any pat on the back, but it's a true thing that I had to really step back just in having this conversation because Lawrence is such a giver naturally that you don't even I don't sometimes I have to check myself to make sure because I'm a giver too, but he's a different type of giver. And so I'm moving, sometimes I have to check myself to make sure that I'm pouring enough into. So to hear you say
Don't do the thing about giving. Don't feel guilty about the past.
right. Oh yeah.
Don't feel guilty about what you think you didn't do or should have done.
That's so good.
You just have to start from today
and do what you do
and let your heart lead you as far as where you are today.
There you go. 100.
The past is gone.
Can't change it.
Dead and gone. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Ooh-wee.
But you have your present and your future. That you can do something about.
Wow, I love it. Okay, guys, let's keep this conversation going.
You like that, Molly?
I tell you, I'm just gonna, I'm right here. I'm feeling so good about this conversation. I'm turning it over to you guys. You do what you want. You say what you want. You take this conversation where you want to go.
Well, let's go. Let's go with some comments on the show then.
Okay.
Absolutely. So this is like the perfect comment right here. He said it way earlier.
And this is your shout out time also.
Please say their name. Yes.
So this is Darnell Harper.
Hello, Darnell.
He had asked us
Darnell
earlier.
has been around for a while. Darnell, can you put in the comments how long you have been a part of the Carter crew? Hey, everybody that's been here a while, if you don't mind, and I do really want to see it, and I'm going to read it off. Can you put how long you've been a part of the Carter crew in here? Let's go.
Yes.
Absolutely. And Darnell had said, I need nothing but only all the secret tips that Val and Brother Carter use to keep such a healthy relationship. So what's one secret that you would like to leave with him?
Wow. Brother Carter.
One secret, huh? You know Val is very outspoken, huh? I let her be.
Wow. Period.
In the story.
Okay, can you add a little bit for the ones in the back of the room?
Oh yeah, that's my no. That's my no and no. And so when I say I let her be, that don't mean I'm controlling anything at all. That means that I'm okay with her being
who she is.
Yeah, I'm okay with her being okay in her skin, and I don't try to control her as far as like she controls me.
Oh my God!
I don't control her like she controls.
Are you really serious? I don't control you. Nobody can control you.
I know it because I'm just be me. I just be myself. And I'm okay with me.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
But,
so what you're saying is that you're okay with me being who I am because that doesn't define.
I don't try to put those strongholds on you for being who you are. You a tap on me. All right. You said enough. And so I don't do that with you. So I'm okay with you tapping me and saying, hush up.
Let me tell y'all something.
So that's a secret there. That's an under the table secret there, Darnell. Thanks. It's a good question there. Good.
Wow. Okay. Y'all know, Brother Carter. That's why they love you so much. He keeps it real. Okay. Next one.
Yes, and we just had some really good comments. Everyone's just really loving today's conversation. Neville Washington, he came in again. He's on YouTube. He said, "You need to learn how to set boundaries first without ruining the relationship."
Yes.
I believe he said that whenever Taylor was talking about the boundaries, and it was a really powerful moment.
Neville Washington has been around a long time as well.
And then we also had Austin Nathan on Facebook. He said,
Austin, he's been around too.
He said, "A relationship where both partners support each other equally is very rare nowadays."
Yes.
And then we also had Herman Lane on YouTube. He said,
Herman.
"But if you are a natural giver in your whole life, you'll rarely think about yourself before someone." And I actually want to ask y'all a question about that.
Go on.
So if you're someone who's naturally a giver, right? At what point do you realize you're over giving?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I had to think of myself because remember we talked about you're being empty and you don't have anything else to give. And so now you're giving from that place of that's turning into bitterness.
But what is that place like? I guess
It's a dark place.
It's a dark place.
The good thing that was supposed to be there is now been replaced with a void.
Would you say it would feel like if your gift feels like a chore?
Yes.
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
That's really good.
That's exactly what it is.
You answered your own question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what? You know what?
That's
I'm growing, I'm learning, and sometimes I just need to be told a million times. But like, we'll get it. We'll get it.
all righty then.
And then we had Pablo
Hey, Pablo.
Cuevas. Sorry if I messed up your name, but he's on Facebook. He said, "Don't be a taker. Don't be a giver. Know your boundaries before becoming any of these."
Ooh. Well, I'm gonna push back on you, Pablo, because you are born with that energy. You know, I do believe that givers, or that's a natural something that you're born with. I mean, if I'm wrong, if somebody got a different take on that, blow that.
I'm gonna say you're wrong on that.
Okay, well, tell me why.
Because some people have learned behavior.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
a kid don't
take that.
grow up, a young innocent kid don't grow up to be a gangster.
Ooh,
I mean,
I
just
like that,
because
Brother Carter. That's
he was
good.
born a gangster. He was not born a gangster. He was born an innocent kid.
Yeah.
He
Ooh.
learned to become a gangster.
Ooh.
And so if you're not born to just, I guess we all born to just
But
lie,
I think
but
good.
you have to learn how to not lie.
But I think we were all born. We were all created from the goodness of God. So
Right.
if we were created from goodness,
Mhm.
if we're created from goodness, we're created in a way to care about other people, want to help other people. That's what I'm speaking of. Being a
Remember
natural
this, we were all born in sin as well.
We were.
Yeah.
I know that. I agree that, but we were created. Go ahead, jump in.
Well, I think trauma and lived experience can attach itself to that. So like there we talked about like, and I think you said it too. At one point, my identity was so tied in just giving
Mhm.
that sometimes I didn't really just do it out of the cheerfulness that the Bible talks about it. I did it because that's the only way I felt like you would accept Taylor, because I tied my identity.
So where did you acquire this taste of giving?
Right. And I think that was from childhood experience. I, as a child, didn't really feel like I was the child that was most seen. And I can say this because my parents and I, we've had this healing part. I felt like I was often the child that was forgotten about, or maybe because my siblings were into so much, I felt like I had to be on the straight and narrow and give and show up. So that began to manifest in every aspect of my life. And it wasn't until my mid-20s that I realized, no, you have just made this your identity. That's why you're the first person to raise your hand for a group project, or you're the first person to volunteer. You're the first person to do that, because you don't know anything outside of that, because that's where you feel value. You don't feel valued just by being in the room, because you don't feel accepted. You don't feel like you would even be loved just as Taylor alone. But Taylor the giver, and that appreciation that comes when people pat you on your back, that was tapping into that validation and that lack of love I had for myself. It was important. So I do think it can be something in you, but it can also be a learned behavior at the same time that you attach your identity to. So that's where I had to break myself from that and say, no, I'm a good person and I'm worthy enough of love, even if I'm not the first person to jump at helping you or giving to you. And that's been the hardest thing to break in myself.
That's the growing part. It's right there.
Hardest thing, but I'm grateful because it wasn't authentic. It was just me trying to prove that I'm worthy.
Wow.
You know.
Whew.
Wow.
What a way.
If we have 10 people on the show, 9 of you feel the exact same way that Taylor just spoke of.
When I tell you guys, I know. It's a great show. Y'all heard this every time. What amazing show. It was an amazing show. Okay, Aaron, what? Aaron, you're not gonna let me wrap this thing up.
Well,
I love it.
You wanted to know how long some of our subscribers have been around.
I really do.
You really did, and this was such a gem right here. I had to highlight it.
Okay, go
Darnell
ahead.
Harper on YouTube. He said, "I don't exactly remember when I first found such a gem, but I remember one thing is that I was the 100th subscriber, and that is the most memorable thing for me."
Come on, man.
God.
Hands up.
That is huge. You were the 100th subscriber.
100.
100. I
How
mean,
far you
wow.
come.
How far?
Yeah.
And
And he's been here.
And
Yeah,
he's
it
been
goes
here.
back.
I think if you guys could, was he on Facebook or YouTube?
He was on YouTube.
Okay, so what are we sitting at right now on YouTube? Donnell, I think that's a record there.
Mhm.
What number are we sitting at? 158. I can't hear. Can somebody say it with the mic on?
158K subscribers.
Wow, Donnell, you've been here with us.
You've seen the growth.
You've seen the growth. Oh my God. And I'm going to tell you, for me, just to hear you say the 100th subscriber, that means everything to me. That means that we are doing something right. And we're touching the masses. And I love you so much. I love you guys so much.
I mean, you was around when we had 2 people, and I was saying we're gonna have 100 billion people on the show.
yes. We're gonna end this show. I talking about ending it on a high note. Is there anyone else that have put a comment in there? Okay, we're gonna end it on a high note. We're gonna go ahead and do final thoughts, and I'm actually going to start with my crew. And then we're going to work our way around. So if I could, I'm going to start with the producer. Kelsey, you're first. Any final thoughts? What did you get out the show, and what do you want to leave the people with?
What I got out the show today.
Yeah. What did you get out the show today?
Don't be a taker. And don't just be a giver. Be reciprocal. That's the word.
Yeah.
Reciprocate that energy.
Back.
It goes in a circle. It'll be very energy. It'll be very healthy.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Right there. Okay, Aaron.
I would say not everything a giver gives is a gift, and not everything a taker takes will be received well.
Oh, wow. Okay. She says you want him to explain that from the back of the room. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, no, I was taking in some of the different things and just the nuances and just life, right? And there are different kinds of givers, but it's like, are you giving from a place of overflow? Are you giving from what you've allotted to that person?
Wow.
Like where are you giving from? Because not every gift or not everything you give is a gift, because if you're giving from a place and expecting something, then it's not a gift. That's a like an exchange, an agreement. I can't think of the word. Transaction, yeah.
Yes.
Or an expected transaction, or you're trying to build a return on investment, right? Wow. And then I was also hearing on taking, but then I was also thinking from the mindset of sometimes people take, but it's because they go to cultivate, right? So I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it's another conversation.
That's real good. I like that. Okay, and Diamond.
I see you as a very wise individual. So that's why I had to go,
That's the Lord. That's of the Lord.
All righty, Diamond, what do you have for us?
Everyone is not deserving of the love and the things you give to them. And just pay attention to how you feel when you're around this person. Like, do I feel depleted? Do I feel drained? Or am I in a good place or headspace when I'm around that person? That's a clear indicator if they should be in your life or not.
Wow. That's from a babe's mouth. That was powerful. That is so true. Okay, Molly.
I think.
What do you want to leave? How was your experience on the show?
Oh, it's fabulous. What I was going to say is that I think this conversation kind of highlights the importance of doing self-assessments, of taking the time to know yourself, to understand where your energy is being spent, to understand whether what you're giving is a gift, etc. So that comes from self-reflection, right? Whether you're a giver or a taker, or you're doing a mixture of both, depending on the relationship, you need to have that understanding, that deep understanding of self before you can make any progress forward.
Wow. Yes.
That's good.
Whew, that is deep. And you?
Yeah, actually, I was going to piggyback right on top of that.
There.
First of all, yeah, we're right there. So first and foremost, thank you so much for having me today. And
even if you had to come straight from work,
even if that's okay, I will do it again and again and again.
Right there.
But I agree.
Would not have known if you had not said so.
Would not have known.
Yeah, I just think you have to love yourself enough to know when to give, how much to give, when a person is able to receive well, and when you have to sever that relationship. And so first and foremost, understand how God loves you and how God cares about you and how God gives to you. Then allow that to penetrate your heart to love yourself enough. and then you can figure out how to get it better right with other people who are overtaking, undertaking, or where you're overgiving. It all it's all like starts somewhere.
Wow.
So with God, yourself, and with others.
Oh,
That's good.
that's real good, Brother Carter.
Are you gonna be the last voice?
I am.
All right.
I'm
All
gonna try it real
So,
hard.
okay. So my take on givers and takers, I think we all have both in us.
Mhm.
We have the ability to both give and the ability to also take. And so we have to recognize when we're in our giving stage of life that when we're giving, we're not giving grudgingly, we're not giving with guilt, we're not giving to be recognized.
Yeah.
And when you start having those feelings about giving, then that's not true giving.
Right.
And so you recognizing one part. And when you're a taker, when you've been taken, at some point in your life, you have to look back at your life. I think about my dad. My dad used to always he was my go-to guy when things got rough. I give him a call. I hated to, and he hated to hear the phone ring with me calling because he said, "Oh man, what this boy want now?" And so, but he was always there to give, whether it was through guilt or whatever it was, he gave it. And so when I got older, and had money for myself, and I told my dad one day, made him cry to broke him down all the way. I said, "Pop, this is something to give back toward all the things that you did help me and my family out during the time." And it just, man, you ain't have to do that. It just broke him down, man. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to recognize that, and I did take. Now it's time to give back something.
That's
From
so
when, so recognize it.
Wow, that's beautiful. Whew. And
I be saying some deep shit.
You
Huh?
do.
You really, that's that heart, yeah. That's how we've stayed together so long. It's that heart. You know, I am seeing, like Herman Lane said that he's been in here since 2003. Mike said he doesn't remember.
Herman Lane, are you related to Gary Lane?
He said he doesn't know. Mike said I don't even remember how long I've been here. I just want to say to you guys, we love you guys. I hope that we are continuing to feed your soul and you're growing right along with us. You have to be, because you're staying connected. I want to say
saying something beneficial to their life.
You know, there is so much stuff out there, and I'm not one to be hitting any other person that's sitting on the platforms that's out there doing. I say, keep doing what you're doing. But I know that this is a mission that God has placed us on, and I'm excited about it. Yeah. So I want you guys
placed you on. I'm just here for the ride.
I thought I was going to be the last one.
Okay.
Have you grown any?
Oh, I've grown tremendously.
Okay.
So
show, are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying the ride?
I think so. I think I do enjoy being on the live show.
I think you do.
I think I kind of took a liking to it.
Well, I just want to say to you guys, I love you all so much. Thank you for being a part of the Love and Victory show with Val. And we have an amazing show for you guys next week. I'm telling you guys, you think this show was hot? You think all of the other shows was hot? Check out next week. We love you. And until then, bye.